I'd like to announce that a quorum is present. The meeting is duly called, and notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. The following board members are in attendance: Tracy Miller, Allison Lasan, Catherine Sells, Dr. Buddy Bonner, Angie Cox, Christy Hassett, Jenny Prosnick. We will now convene into closed session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551, specifically 551.071, 072, and 074. The time is 6:01 p.m. We'll now convene into open session. The time is 7:02. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. Welcome to all. The Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees meets monthly to receive reports from staff and take action on recommendations from the superintendent. The board receives the agenda and all supporting documentation 10 days in advance of these regular meetings, which allows us to ask and receive answers to many of your questions, or to our questions. The board also meets in regular scheduled workshops and work sessions where staff discussions and presentations are given for many of the agenda items. This protocol means lengthy discussion or a litany of questions on the agenda item is often unnecessary. And as a board, we should have appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of the meeting. Additionally, while we no longer are limiting the number of staff and community members as in-person attendees, we respectfully ask that you maintain social distancing and other health protocols while attending the meeting this evening. Furthermore, we ask all those in attendance conduct themselves respectfully at all times during the meeting. Any outbursts or disruptive behaviors may result in your removal from the board meeting. Consideration and action of items discussed in closed session. Can I have a motion? Ms. Prosnick?
I move that the board find good cause exists to show contract abandonment by Belinda Hernandez and that administration file a complaint and notify the State Board for Educator Certification of teacher contract abandonment.
Second. Ms. Hassett? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Recognition, Student Spotlight. Chief Communications Officer Amanda Brim will now share with us this month's recognition in Student Spotlight.
LASD would like to thank its nurses, the COVID call center, accountability and evaluation team, and all the LASD employees who went above and beyond and continue to do so to ensure the safety of our students and staff. Last year, these hardworking employees formed a health service COVID task force as well as a consortium of local health care providers, received 20,795 COVID call center calls, contact traced close to 4,000 students and employee COVID cases combined, administered 600 COVID vaccines to employees, assisted 2 Pfizer COVID vaccine clinics totaling 3,000 vaccines for staff and their families, saw 158,000 students in the nurse's office for illness or injury, administered 37,000 medications to students, performed 58,000 student health screenings, made 95 medical calls to 911, and one school's AED team successfully rescued a staff member. Thank you to these amazing employees. Your continued commitment to the health and safety of our students and staff is truly appreciated.
Okay, so let me introduce Melanie Vincelette, our Director of Health Services, and then I'll say something afterwards. So.
Well, first off, I want to thank the nurses for their resiliency for these past 18 months in the incoming school year. Thank you all so much. And a special thank you to the board for recognizing us and understanding the situation that we've faced this past year and as we go into 2022. Thank you so much. Your support has meant the world to us and to you, Dr. Rogers.
Thanks, Melanie. And so the COVID call center served both students, parents, and staff last year. You heard a little bit about the volume that they dealt with. I also want to recognize Mr. Kaj in the back, Dr. Fitzhugh, there's Dr. Fitzhugh with this group. I mean, they just did a masterful job trying to answer questions, help direct. And so, and some of our folks up here are retirees that we talked back into coming and helping us out. And so the retiree thing's sounding pretty good right about now. But anyway, we just greatly appreciate your service to our students, parents, and our staff last year. So thank y'all very much. It's just a small token of appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Anything else from Amanda? Persons desiring to address the Board of Trustees must fill out speakers' cards. No presentation shall exceed 3 minutes. Let me be clear. 3 minutes. The board cannot deliberate on any subject that is not included on the agenda. I'll call each speaker. We're going to give you your full 3 minutes. We have about 30 speakers, which is an hour and a half. I would ask that if you don't need the full 3 minutes, we do have a hearing tonight, and so we have respect for the student and family that we want to make sure get home at a decent time, that you give us that time back. So as I call you, make sure you please state your name and address, and I think it's got local organization that you're representing here. So the first person to speak would be Suzanne Betts. Ms. Betts, could you step forward and give your address?
I'm Susan Betts. My address is 4735 San Marcos Way in Frisco. I've been a registered nurse for 44 years, and I also hold a master's in holistic nutrition. I live in the Lewisville ISD. For the last 10 years, I've served patients as a certified oncology nurse navigator, and I currently own a health coaching business. I work with scared, sick people every day, and I'm very good at what I do. One of the reasons that I am is because I've learned how fear works through my own cancer journey and through working with my patients. To someone that suddenly is identified as being a victim, fear can paralyze and steal hope. It can prevent clear thinking. It can cause very intelligent people to make very bad choices. It's like a weapon that's used in combination with the disease that keeps the person in darkness and chaos, so they have a hard time seeing reasonable solutions and good treatments. You are the education leaders in our community, so let's think together for a moment concerning COVID-19 and variants. And I quote, this is a quote, key point mutations of the genetic code that may develop. That sounds kind of scary, doesn't it? But it's what viruses do. They mutate. So let's de-escalate here. The Delta variant is not code for deadlier. It appears to be more easily spread, but 99.9% of children weren't getting sick, much less dying from the original virus. What evidence do we have that they will get sick from the variant that is known to be weaker? There is none. But what we do have are really good choices for proven successful treatments for both COVID and its variant. The evidence of effectiveness of ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, budesonide, zinc, and azithromycin should be celebrated. They are inexpensive, readily available, and have almost no side effects. However, it appears that this information is being nefariously suppressed while there is an incessant, unrelenting, and almost frantic rush to a radical, inadequately tested, and extremely dangerous, even lethal injection, cloaked with the label of vaccine. It doesn't even meet the CDC's own definition of vaccine. And alarmingly, it's not even working. What kind of agenda is being pushed here? Let's look at some things that we do know for sure. Children naturally have higher glutathione levels than adults. This antioxidant gives them a huge protective advantage, especially if they're athletic. 4 more children have died, not just serious reactions to, but are dead because they are receiving this experimental gene therapy more so than after they contract COVID. Children are not more vulnerable to this disease, but they are vulnerable to this dangerous experimental injection because the very adults that they depend on to protect them are fearful and easily manipulated.
Thank you, Ms.
Instead of
Betts.
doing their own research and
Thank you.
educating themselves with truth, we're
Thank you,
leading
Ms.
them
Betts.
down the.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out and speaking. Patrice Warren, please state your name and address. Chris Manning, please state your name and address.
Chris Manning. My address is 917 Excalibur Drive in Highland Village. And I am not here to talk about masks today. I'm a resident of the district and have 2 daughters who attend elementary here, and I'm an active volunteer on their campus as I'm co-lead for the Watchdogs program. I have the temporary tattoo to prove it. To say that I'm invested in this community is an understatement. Highland Village is the only home that my children have ever known, and it is a community that I cherish. Although I've met a few of you and would call at least one of you friend, this is the first time that I've addressed the board. I've also been involved with the district due to a 15-year career in higher education. I've worked with the district and have for many years with teachers and administrators alike. I mention this so that you understand that I know the district beyond my little neighborhood within it. We're not homogenous, and that's okay. That should be celebrated. We have a special district full of wonderful, committed teachers and bright students who are the future not only of this community, but of this country. So getting to it, I'm here tonight to briefly address a topic that other parents across the country have taken on in their own districts. You've likely heard, seen the videos with impassioned pleas about critical race theory or CRT and wanting to keep it out of the schools. Whereas I agree with that sentiment, I'm not here to appeal to your emotion. The stories you hear in viral videos are valid and entirely appropriate to be shared in a setting like this, but tonight, in my very limited time, I would rather take a different approach. I want to offer myself as a resource to this board and to the district. I've spent the better part of the last 18 months, if you will, call it my COVID obsession. I run a lot, and I listen to podcasts, and then I go read. I've read the authors. I've come to the conclusions based not upon talking points that someone else created, but based upon reading the material for myself and drawing my own conclusions. I've done something that most critical race theorists shy away from, and that is critical thinking. Just because the word is in the title does not mean it is central to the theory. Now, I understand that Governor Abbott signed a bill that limits the way that current events may be framed and effectively limits the teaching of critical race theory. There are reasons that I believe you need to hear from parents like me anyway. The march of CRT will not stop, and neither will I. I'll be here to oppose it whenever it raises its head. I will not tolerate my 2 young children who, like me, are of mixed ethnicity, to be taught in schools that I help to fund that they are one thing or another based solely upon their immutable characteristics. I will not tolerate them being told by people in positions of authority that they are complicit in a system of institutional racism and are therefore racist themselves. They aren't. They're just innocent kids. They're loving and compassionate, and they don't care what you look like. They care who you are. Now, do we need more understanding of other cultures? Absolutely. Our ethnicities should be celebrated, not weaponized. Without belaboring the issue, let me leave you with this. If you value the work of the civil rights movement and the place and time that that work has placed us in, as imperfect as it is, you have to reject
Thank you, Mr.
any
Manning.
march of critical race theory.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Just as a reminder, each of you will get an email communication from us this week, and you'll get an opportunity to interact with us further on that. Kimberly Stevens, please state your name and address, please.
My name is Kimberly Ann Stevens, and my address is 1649 Canterbury Lane. I've lived there for 22 years. We are hearing today from the ISD being pushed to violate an EO from our governor. That would result in the usurpation of parental authority and the rights of parents to determine the best for their children. What would this action be predicated upon? Testing and case numbers? This is reported in Denton County on the PCR and the antigen tests. The PCR and the antigen tests have been recalled. They were on EUA, and both of them have been recalled. That is able to be found on the FDA.gov website. They were recalled because they have too many false positives. The PCR test was also recalled because it cannot discern between flu and COVID. The reason that it cannot discern between flu and COVID is because when it was calibrated, there was no isolate of COVID, and the gene sequence that they had was incomplete. So what they did was they spliced in human flu cells. This is the instructions to run the PCR test from the FDA.gov website. On page 42 of that instruction manual, it tells you that the isolate was not the isolate was not found, and the sequencing that they took from 3 patients that were assumed to have COVID was incomplete, and they filled it in with human flu cells. So if that's the case, I ask you, what are you going to predicate that decision upon about our children, their faces, and their year? Because they do not need another silent year. This is the EUA for masks. Masks in the general public are not FDA approved. They are on an EUA. What that means is you cannot be forced to have my child in a mask unless I sign a disclosure agreement that has to be voluntary because this is an EUA. That means that it is a medical device that you would be forcing on our children, that you forced on them last school year against our wishes, and we did not sign this. My child did not sign this. So I would say to you, what are you predicating this decision on? And I would like an answer.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Rachel Hodge. You said thank you, Ms. Stevens. Rachel Hodge.
Hi, I am Rachel Hodge. I live at 1102, just moved west of Russell Avenue in Carrollton. I am a mom and a teacher in Dallas ISD. I am a mini activist. I just recently got my voice this year. I started when our rights were being taken away from us. As an educator, we're here to teach students, not indoctrinate. As a mom, I'm teaching mine to stand up for themselves. This is unconstitutional. The CDC last year gave the go-ahead for schools to make the choice to put the mask policy, but the teachers' union blocked that. There's no science, and y'all know that. You're taking advice from the guy that's attacking us. He's benefiting financially. I'm not taking tests that's come to be known that couldn't tell the difference between the flu and COVID. Never in a million years did I think that I would be in this position, speaking up for myself and those that are here tonight. This year, I've gained so many friends from fighting for the same cause. No one said you can't wear a mask, but the choice to tell me that I have to wear one is unconstitutional.
Thank you, Ms. Hodge. Jeremy Toussaint. You'd state your name and address, please.
Jeremy Toussaint. Address is 5913 Chatham Lane in the Colony. It was my understanding that this board was going to take some directions and make a decision about masking for our children. Now, I heard that because I have never heard that Lewisville ISD takes the lead. You wait until Dallas ISD makes a call, and then you follow their lead. So I'm asking you guys to listen to those who are presenting verifiable and factual data to you to consider how we're going to treat our children in our masks. I have 2 children in the ISD that are special needs. You will find it very difficult to mask them. They don't get it. They don't understand it. They're either too young to understand, or they don't have the mental capability to understand. So if anybody's going to be scared that they're going to spread a virus to somebody else, you're just going to have to put up with it. Now, many people in here feel very strongly, as my wife and I do, and you're going to have to make that call. But my children likely are not going to be compliant with that directive. You're going to have to, over and over and over again, work with them, but it's not going to happen with them. Of course, we don't mask ourselves anyways. Not afraid. We teach our children not to be afraid of COVID. There are treatments. Yet, if you take them, 2 days later, you're fine. There's no need for a vaccine. Don't have to be afraid. Don't have to follow the lead. No need to be concerned about all the pressure that's coming from the White House on down. Don't worry about it. You guys learn how to handle this on your own, build up your own immune systems, you'll be fine. No need. No need to worry about a mask. We teach our children to be very confident in the way that God designed their bodies and their immune system, and it'll fight this thing off. We don't have to worry about it. All we do is take the appropriate treatments with ivermectin, with HCQ, we should be fine. No worries about that. All the nursing staff that just came up here, they should be trained in that and be able to deal with every single one of those kids. If there's an infection, send them home. If the sick kid's sick, send them home. But we shouldn't be masking our kids. I don't want them to have masks on for the rest of the time that they're in school. We've been hearing that this idea of variant coming out and variant and variant and a variant and a variant, like this is never going to end. So you would rather have my smiley kids' faces be seen rather than masked up. They're beautiful kids. Their smiles are great.
Mr. Toussaint, thank you. And just to be clear, in case it saves some time for some of the speakers, LISD has already made the decision we are not going to defy the governor's orders. So to be clear, our position is that we're returning to school with masks on, and we're going to, masks off, and it's parental choice and teacher choice going forward. So that's our decision. Robin Dobson. State your address, please.
Yes, I'm Dr. Robin Dobson, and I live at 3109 Clearpoint in Flower Mound. I'm a pathologist, so maybe some of you don't know what a pathologist does, but I can tell you that we are in charge of the PCR testing for COVID-19. And I can tell you that this has been one of the most quickly sequenced viruses in the history of the world. We absolutely know the sequence of the virus. The PCR tests work, and we can absolutely distinguish them from the flu. So just to put that to rest. So in my lab right now, just to give some facts, we are running at 20 to 25% positivity for our COVID testing. Just to put that in context, when we're looking for test numbers that are in a safe level, we want that to be under 5%. We are nowhere close to 5%, 20 to 25%. And the facility that I work in that's running 20 to 25% is testing patients that are coming in for surgery. So these are not people that think they have COVID. These are people being required to get a COVID test. So that means that the test rate in our whole county is likely much higher than that. So let's talk about Denton County. The new numbers just came out this evening. 783 new cases were reported on August 9th in Denton County. This number of cases means that we are currently in unmitigated spread of COVID-19 in Denton County. Let's talk about ICU beds. There are 3 ICU beds available in Denton County right now. 3 ICU beds available in Denton County right now. In Texas, there are a total of 439 ICU beds. The projected need of ICU beds in this wave is between 6,000 and 12,000 ICU beds in Texas. We are about to have a disaster on our hands in our hospitals, and our doctors and nurses have been overworked in this pandemic. And we can make it worse if we send all of our children to school, because what is that going to do? It's going to increase the spread of the virus if we do not take steps to mitigate the spread. What can we do? If you will not mandate masks, you can encourage masks. Dr. Rogers, you can lead the way as you did last year by putting on a mask and telling your principals that they should put on masks, and the staff should put on masks. If not, let parents have mask cohorts in the classes. If other people don't want to, that's fine, but why not let us put our children together in a masked cohort? I applaud the decision to put ventilation in the schools. That is going to help tremendously. Also, it would be helpful if they could eat outdoors, so that ventilation outdoors is much superior to in cafeterias.
Thank you,
So
Dr.
I applaud your
Thompson.
efforts.
Thank you. Again, I'm going to ask that we exercise decorum. We've never had this happen in LISD, so I just ask that we show some respect to all parties. Christine Horstmeyer. Sorry if I messed that up. If you could give us your address.
So I'm Christine Horstmeyer, 2801 Pasadena Place in Flower Mound. So I'm a family medicine physician here in the LISD community, and my husband is a teacher for LISD. We have 2 beautiful little girls. This last 18 months plus has been pretty horrific, I would say, for our community and for the world. While we have been working hard at getting adults vaccinated, our children have helped us fight this fight, either by staying home or wearing masks. They have been alongside us in this journey. Now that the adults have had their opportunity to be vaccinated, adults are deciding enough is enough. They are tired and they are done. But this isn't over. We are giving up too early, and our children will pay the price. We ask them to help us carry the burden of fighting this disease, and now, when they are still defenseless against this disease, we are giving up the fight. There are arguments that we were successful last year at limiting outbreaks in our schools, but this was with masks. There are arguments that this COVID virus is not as harmful in pediatric patients, but that was not with the Delta variant. That is not what is happening right now in our pediatric hospitals. Talk to the pediatric hospitalists to see the horrors that they are seeing right now in our hospitals. Our healthcare system is already stretched to the breaking point. Talk to the CMOs of our hospitals. We are running out of healthcare workers to care for people, and that means if we run out, when you need help, there will not be anyone to come to you. It is the unvaccinated that are dying in our hospitals, and our children are the innocent, unvaccinated people. We are all tired of this pandemic. I care for about 1,000 patients. You guys have a voice to thousands of people in the school district. I can only imagine the burden that's on your shoulders during this time. We ask that you take these steps to help protect our children and our staff. We need masks. We need LISD to be encouraging masks. It is our civic duty to be standing up and saying that, yes, we can mandate masks as others have been trying to do before us. We need LSD to encourage vaccines, hold vaccine drives on weekends at the schools. We need LISD to do what it does best. We need it to educate those that you have a voice to speak to. Let them know 90% of physicians are vaccinated. All of our presidents are vaccinated. Our governors are vaccinated. Science supports masks and science supports vaccines. Help educate and dispel disinformation. Send weekly emails with this information to the people that you have a voice to. Let them know the numbers and the stats. Let them know how many ICU beds are left and how many of those are dying. Thank you for
Thank you,
your time.
Doctor. Thank you for coming out. Deborah Leva. Okay, no problem. Thank you for coming out.
Yes, my name is Deborah Leva, and my address is 528 Port O'Connor, Little Elm, Texas. And I am here for several reasons, so I'm going to try to talk really, really fast. One of the reasons I'm here is because I heard that parents were submitting their opt-out letters on human sexuality curriculum, as well as anything that goes against their religious moral beliefs. And so I'm here to say that I will back and support any parent that needs that help. So I ask you guys to please encourage your staff to not deny the parents the right to opt out of that curriculum. That is their right. It's in your handbook as well. The second thing I want to address is the legal fees. I'm just curious, y'all have that on your agenda to approve contracts for your legal fees, and I'm just curious, as an advocate for students with special needs, I'm just wondering, are you ever going to establish a fund that will pay for parents to get an advocate or an attorney, just like you guys pay your attorneys from the taxpayers' dollars, to pay to fight the parents for the rights that they're already entitled to by law? So that's the other thing that I would like to address as part of the agenda today. And the other thing is the JJAP, your Memorandum of Understanding. I'm a little concerned that you've got 14 to 15 districts that want to establish a co-op, that you want to establish this Memorandum of Understanding. And my problem with that is that we are criminalizing children. And we've got the schoolhouse to prison. And that's unacceptable. We need to find ways to actually advocate and actually help and intervene on behalf of these children instead of criminalizing them, because most of them actually need special education services and aren't getting it. So I highly suggest that you look more into that Memorandum of Understanding and these 14 and 15 districts, that you're going to collect $99 a day per student that is put into the JJAP, the Alternative School for Discipline Reasons, and that's unacceptable. It's called money. All I know is that Satan is a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour, according to the scriptures. But I will tell you today and every day that Jesus Christ is still Lord, and he's still King, and he is upset with what we are doing to these children. And COVID is curable. I had COVID. I'm here alive because I denied the ventilator, and you need to stop hurting children, because each and every one of us will be accountable on behalf of every single child. So we need to take that into consideration and quit harming the children and allow parents to have the rights that they're entitled to. And please, please don't mask these babies. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leva. Rebecca Wignall. How'd I do? Wignall. That makes more sense.
Rebecca Wignall. I live at 1308 in Flower Mound. I'm an ICU nurse at Parkland Hospital. I spent the last year caring for patients with COVID in our tactical care unit. I've witnessed firsthand the death and disability that this disease does bring. I'm here tonight as an LISD parent. I'm representing my 7-year-old daughter who's at Timber Creek, my 15-year-old son who's over at Marcus, and my 22-year-old daughter who was a graduate at Marcus and a merit scholar. There are over 52,000 students in the LISD. Without mitigating actions, as we had the past school year, some percentage of those students will possibly die and become permanently disabled as a result of COVID. There's no acceptable percentage for this. There's just no number that is acceptable. We see a lot of numbers go around saying, like 0.005% is so tiny. It's still unacceptable. I would never put one child in the LISD through what I have witnessed these patients at Parkland go through. The American Academy of Pediatrics, Texas Medical Association, Texas Pediatric Society, Texas Academy of Family Physicians, American Academy of Family Physicians, the physicians and providers present here tonight are all calling for mask wearing in schools to protect those who cannot yet be vaccinated. The Delta variant is even more infectious. I'm just imploring the district to be more proactive in protecting our students. It's our moral responsibility to do so. We can delay the start of the school year. We can offer virtual school. We can continue to mask up. We can push back against the Executive Order GA36. We can avoid large gatherings in school settings. We could, at the very least, allow students who choose to be masked to cohort together. We are all parents who love our children and would do anything for them. We're literally begging you here for a little bit more time to get all the children who want to be vaccinated, who want to be protected, vaccinated. We've been presented with reliable data, or we are being presented with reliable data and informed opinions by the medical professionals that are here tonight. Every one of them is advocating for some form of the mitigation measures that I've mentioned here. And even as we speak, our local ERs and ICUs are still filling with COVID patients. We need to listen to our professionals. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wignall. Again, we have no intention to defy the governor's orders. Joseph Santiago.
I'm Joseph Santiago. I live at 3805 Richland Road in Flower Mound, Texas, 75022. I am a parent of 4 children, 2 who are graduated from LISD, 2 who are current students in the Lewisville School District. I earned my medical degree in 1997 from UT Southwestern in Dallas. I practiced family medicine here in Flower Mound for 20 years. I took care of LISD staff members, families, students. They were all my patients for 20 years. Last year, I retired from private practice to join the Indian Health Service. In the IHS, I am deployed to Native American reservations to assist in their medical needs. I have seen firsthand the COVID loss and tragedy that occurs amongst our Native American communities that I fear will happen here in LISD. The Delta variant makes now the most dangerous period of this pandemic. Mutations have transformed the spike protein of the Delta variant into a highly contagious airborne pathogen. Its mutations counteract the natural advantages that children have had in the previous year. The Delta variant is a clear and present danger to those who choose to be unvaccinated and for those who are too young to be vaccinated. Much of what we learned in 2020 about the pandemic about COVID in children no longer applies. Not only are adult hospitalizations increasing nationwide, but pediatric hospitalizations are increasing at a rapid rate, unprecedented in our history. This is not last year's COVID. Delta is a whole new ballgame. From my perspective, caring for patients with COVID, it is worse. I have seen firsthand COVID long-haul syndrome and the disabilities it causes. 1 in 3 children may develop long-lasting disabilities from COVID infection. We are headed towards what may be the biggest mass casualty event in our state's history as hospitalizations rise to a point that we will outstrip both hospital and critical care resources by as much as 16 to 30-fold by Labor Day weekend. We must delay the start of school. We must mandate the masks. We must offer virtual options to do our part to stop what is coming. Our county caseload, based on the latest numbers, is now 50% higher than it was at the high point of our holiday surge this past January. And it shows no sign of slowing. This is not fear. This is not politics. This is reality as I see it as a medical professional. Freedom without responsibility and obligation is merely the expression of a petulant, spoiled child. As a parent and physician, our schools should not be a pandemic front line.
Thank you, Dr. Santiago, and thank you for serving our community and that special community as well. Shane Reber. Would you give us your address, please?
Yes. My name is Shane Reber. I live at 357 East Corporate Drive in Lewisville. I have children in LISD middle and high school. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your plan to bring in air purifiers, your efforts to contact trace, for providing masks and sanitizer, and for bringing back the COVID tracker. Thank you. I'd like to preface this to clarify that I am concerned about the mental health of our students in response to being virtual, but we should not take the governor's order as a cue to relax. I would like to request that we, number one, bring back the COVID notification emails to all parents at each school so that we can make informed decisions day by day. Two, we come up with a better plan to deal with close contact quarantines. Making quarantine optional is going to cause spread. Our students need to be able to fully quarantine and not fall behind, or people will choose not to quarantine. I'm told that Plano ISD has a parent-involved plan they just released, which may be helpful. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked at it. Number three, avoid large gatherings. Number four, having outdoor lunch available is a good idea. Number five, bringing back shields for all desks. I'm concerned that if my student has a shield and no one else does, that everything's just going to come right here, and it's actually going to limit ventilation. Kids under 12 have no choice but to be unvaccinated. There are plenty of unvaccinated children over age 12 as well. It is the responsibility of our schools to be concerned for their safety regardless of family choices. Examples of this are health screenings and immunization requirements. The entire planet is not reacting this seriously to COVID-19 because the planet hates freedom. Millions of people did not die from a lack of supplements or a lack of malaria meds. The threat is real and should be treated with respect. Your only concern should be the safety of the children and, an extension, the safety of the community upon which our children depend. Delta variant is teaching us that we must have a unified response, and we must see this through until it is more managed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reber. Blanca Martinez. Would you give us your address, and if you would give us your city? I can't read the city that well. I apologize.
Yes, my name is Blanca Martinez, Irving, Texas. I'm a social worker by
profession. Give us your address, please.
P.O. Box 7777, Grand Prairie, Texas. Irving, excuse me. I'm here. I'm a social worker by profession and a minister, but I'm here as a voice for God of reason. The doctor just talked about there being an epidemic that's going to kill bunches and bunches of people and frightening everyone. And I say, where is God? If I took a poll right now in this room, I believe that every single how many are Christians? Every single hand just about would go up. If we're a Christian, what does the Bible say? It says that God will protect us. He will keep us. He will lead us. He will guide us. He is our strength. We have been through so many so-called epidemics in our lifespan, and we've gotten through all of them. But how can we steal someone's freedom and call it for their safety? This is what's going on globally around the whole nations of the world. They are locking us down. In Tennessee, they made a rule where they can actually remove people from their homes if they are infected by this variant, which, by the way, like the other lady said, that test is incorrect anyway. There's a flu season coming up, and during that flu season, those that have been vaccinated, they have been said their immune system is now compromised. And what that means is when the flu season hits, they may not be able to fight it naturally the way that God intended it. This is why now they're saying that we need booster shots. Booster shots are not the answer. Again, we're going to continue to infect ourselves with a vaccine that we know nothing. It's not even a vaccine. It's not a vaccine. It is a poison. It is toxins. They have found that there is graphene toxins in each and every one of the vaccines. I'm saying it is time for us to return to God. Why are we in this situation to begin with? Because one lady came and took prayer out of school years ago. Another lady came and made it legal to kill babies. And nobody stood up. Today we must stand up and say it is time to stand for God. It is time to stand for truth. It is time to believe God and say, you know what, Jesus, you said that when you died on that tree, you took every curse, every disease, every pandemic on that tree, and we are delivered by the blood of Christ. So why are we so terrified of a virus? Why are we so terrified even of the tyranny that's coming upon us? Call upon the name of the Lord and he will deliver us. If we come with our whole heart, if we come with everything that we have to God, he says, I will answer you and I will deliver you. For blessed are those that call on the name of the Lord, and cursed are those that lean on man.
Thank you, Ms.
God bless you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Cindy Marsden. Did I get that right?
Marsden, MD. I live at 941 Cobblestone Hill Drive in Argyle, Texas. I'm an obstetrics and gynecologist. I've been in town since 1989. I stopped any hospital affiliation 4 years ago, so I am not beholden to any major corporation, any hospital firm, or any the AMA policies. I was asked to come here yesterday. I've been deeply entrenched with America's frontline doctors, frontline COVID critical care doctors, the American Society of Physicians and Surgeons. I was asked yesterday to come and speak to you about vaccines. And my question is, why are we talking about vaccines in children when we are 18 months into this pandemic? These children have a 99.999 chance of survival. Let me say that again, 99.999. All right? You have more of a risk dying at birth if I deliver your child than 0.001, just by the natural numbers. So why are we possibly going to tell our child to sign up to be a guinea pig for an experimental drug that has no safety record, no record on what it does to your fertility, and we know it kills children? We have paralysis, we have myocarditis. Look at the numbers yourself. This is even since July. We have young male athletes who will no longer be able to function because they have myocarditis. Why is that? The vaccine is not a vaccine. The vaccine is a piece of genetic material that they've engineered. It goes into your arm muscle through a lipid nanoparticle of polyethylene glycol, which 70% of us have sensitivities to. It's in cosmetics, dental products, hair products. That's the first horrible reaction that people are having on their skin. The second thing is this messenger RNA that gets attached to your cell, goes into your cell. It is a recipe. It tells your own cell, I want you to make the spike protein, which is the part of the virus, only a part, that creates the worst effect. Your cell starts making its own spike protein. It pushes itself out to the surface of the cell. Your body recognizes that as foreign. Antibodies come and attack it. Perfect. Your T cells come in, clean up the mess, and put out the fire. Perfect. If that works, that's great, but that's in theory. We tried that with the SARS-1. Guess what? Every ferret died that was given the vaccine. Then we were given to the rhesus macaque monkeys. We gave them the vaccine. They had great immunity. Everything was great. And then they were exposed in the fall to the irregular whole coronavirus. And they had something called antibody-dependent enhancement. They had a worse hyperinflammatory result than the people with natural immunity. Our natural immunity, and it's proven by the Cleveland Clinic, is much better than a specific immunity that they're getting with this vaccine that is very specific to this Wuhan spike virus that no longer exists. Viruses mutate. That's what they do. They find their way in the population. They figure out how to keep themselves alive. And to do that, they need to become more transmissible but less lethal. Otherwise, they won't be around. Don't do this to us.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden. Pamela Cully.
My name is Pamela Coley, and I'm at 3520 Vanguard Drive in Frisco. As a parent in the Lewisville School District, I would like to speak against forced masks and vaccinations in our school district. To be clear, I'm not against vaccines, as I do support safe and effective necessary vaccinations. I shouldn't even need to speak on this matter, as vaccines and mask wearing are supposed to be voluntary for public schools in the state of Texas per Governor Abbott's executive orders. However, things seem to be spinning up over fear of the Delta variant. Nervous. Let me start by saying the CDC is ending the use of the PCR test that has been used since February 2020 to detect COVID infection because it doesn't differentiate between COVID and other flu viruses. If the test is unable to tell the difference between COVID and the flu, how can it tell the difference between COVID variants? Yet fear is being spread about the Delta variant. This is not science. So first, I would ask that if anyone is beginning to consider violating Governor Abbott's executive orders, that you first truly look at the actual science and not act out of persuasion and fear. On the topic of masks, the U.S. Center for Disease Control performed a study which showed that 85% of those who contracted COVID-19 during July 2020 were mask wearers. Just 3.9% of the study participants never wore a mask. There has been laboratory research of face mask samples that detected the presence of 11 dangerous pathogens that included bacteria that cause diphtheria, pneumonia, and meningitis. They also found parasites, fungi, bacteria, and other harmful pathogens that cause ulcers, acne, and strep throat, my son being one of those. Every person has different risk tolerance in all aspects of life. It should be up to each individual and family to assess the risk and choose the best option for them. The same is true for the vaccine. There are far too many unknowns for this experimental injection to make it mandatory. Mandating this vaccine violates the Nuremberg Code, which states that voluntary consent is absolutely essential. These vaccines are not FDA approved, making it experimental. Long-term trials have not been conducted, and we have no idea what the long-term effects that these shots will have. The CDC just listed 12 of the 13 most vaccinated countries as high travel risks due to the high infection rate. Now, how is that possible if this vaccine works? The Pfizer CEO just canceled his trip to Israel because he's not fully vaccinated. Why would he not be vaccinated yet? Do you think he knows something we don't know? Speaking of Israel, News Israel 13 just reported that 85 to 90% of hospitalized COVID patients are vaccinated.
Thank you, Ms. Cully. Thank you very much. Jason Morgan. Mr. Morgan, could you give us your full address, please?
Hello, my name is Jason Morgan. I'm 700 Webb Street, Arlington, Texas. 75% of people are vaccinated. That's true right there. I wonder if they're in there because of the COVID shot they took, the vaccine, the non-vaccine, the genetic modification. I have a few words to say about it. I have a question first. Where were y'all January 28th, 1986? That was the day of, a lot of us remember as the Challenger disaster. So, if you read up on it, like the O-rings and the SRB joints that didn't hold up in the cold weather, and then there's some other reasons, and what it really came down to is the person that pushed the button for the launch sequence, all the people that made that decision. Well, everybody wanted to look good. They wanted the thing to go off. They wanted to be a successful launch, but something creeped in there. It's a word called groupthink. Groupthink is a practice of thinking or making decisions as a group in a way that discourages creativity and individual responsibility. Also, it's a phenomenon that occurs when a group of individuals reaches a consensus without critical reasoning or evaluation of the consequences or alternatives. Groupthink is based on a common desire to not upset the balance of a group of people. Think about that. Everybody just trying to look good. Anyways, the kids, the COVID doesn't affect the kids. Like the doctor was saying, there's a 99.99% chance of them actually getting over it. Kids don't spread the virus. Let me see. And a lot of people don't know about the VAERS, all right? There's also a website called Open VAERS, but there's actually 9 other agencies that collect this data, all right? Recently, a whistleblower, that is the adverse reaction to vaccines. Recently, a whistleblower came forward and said that 45,000 people have actually died from the vaccine. This was a few weeks ago, all right? This is not being reported, all right? So again, here we go with the groupthink, the phenomenon. I mean, the media's pushing it. Clarice Tinsley's pushing it, for God's sake. I've met her twice, by the way. She's really cute. She's only about this tall. She's a little bitty girl. But, I just think it's time to step back and take a look at it, And don't watch your TV because they're telling you, I think they're telling you lies.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Kelly Joel.
.309 Balsam Drive, Arlington, Texas. Oh. So Rand Paul said today on Twitter, "We are at a moment of truth and a crossroads. Will we allow these people to use fear and propaganda to do further harm to our society, economy, and children? Or will we stand together and say, absolutely not. Not this time. I choose freedom." These masks for these children are just horrendous. I mean, it causes psychological problems, bacterial pneumonia. They don't change them like these doctors do every second. And they wear these masks all day long, these same masks. And there's all kinds of bacteria on them. And we've been going 18 months in these masks. And I thank y'all for going with the governor, because these children do not need these masks. And as far as coercing these kids to take this vaccine, well, on the vaccine adverse affection reactions report system put out by the CDC, over 545,337 adverse effects. All these children, especially these little boys, are getting myocarditis, inflammation of the heart, and like they said, they're not going to be able to, do their sports like they're more people are dying of the vaccine than the coronavirus. And this Delta variant, the next one is Lambda, and then they're going to have Omicron. And I was a Kappa Kappa Gamma at Baylor. When is the Kappa Kappa Gamma virus going to come? So we need to trust in our Lord. And our Lord gave us an immune system, a natural immune system. And we just need to take care of our immune system. And we need to exercise. We need to eat healthy, and we need to show our kids that's what you need to do to stay healthy. And our kids have perfect immune systems that our God gave us. So anyway, I just want to say one thing. The Texas Penal Code 3903, the abuse of power, a public servant acting under color of his office or employment commits an offense if he intentionally denies or impedes another in the exercise or enjoyment of any right. And we have the right to wear a mask or not. We have the right to take the vaccine or not. But I tell you what, these children do not need this. They do not need this experimental shot. It's not a vaccine. They haven't isolated it. How can they even test for a Delta variant when they haven't even isolated the COVID? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Jesus
Paul.
loves you.
Thank you. Sindhu V. Till. Sorry. You give us your address, please. Maybe your proper spelling, pronunciation of your name.
Oh, you're okay. It's an ethnic name. I get that a lot. I'm used to it. Sindhu Vietil, 1529 Ilika Court, Lewisville, Texas, 75067. I'm here just to talk about my experience and what I've seen. I'm a nurse practitioner. I work in urgent care in Keller, and I've been a nurse over 20 years, worked in ER, different places. I've been in the front lines in the past few years in Methodist Hospital and in the urgent care. Most of the MAs were scared, and the providers are the ones that were doing the COVID testing. Eventually, I knew I would get COVID, and I did in early June. By God's grace, we were all okay, me and the children, and their dad was not there, so it was just us. And I'm not denying that some people get real seriously badly ill, but from what I've seen in the urgent care, because a lot of the family physicians didn't have room or they didn't want to take patients with COVID, so they'd come to the urgent care or the ER, and we were the ones that were facing them much more. And I'll tell you, with this Delta variant, I'm seeing a lot less hospitalizations and pneumonias as last year we saw a lot more where we did have to send them to the hospital. And then there were a few with respiratory issues. And according to data, there is in some people like an immune reaction to this COVID, and it's a pocket full of people. And according to today, I had the data up. I don't have it here. Today, the new confirmed cases is 2,100. Oh, sorry, it's not. It was, okay, it's in the Texas DHS.maps. It's in the Texas Department of Health. And here, and the new reported fatalities is 8. Overall, it's 2,730,883. Total fatalities, 52,471. And in the ICUs, because I go to Methodist too, there's RSV, there is paraflu, there's a lot of other different viruses coming up. So that complicates things. And I really don't think all the masks are doing what it's supposed to do. I send my kids to a Christian school only because my son needs more attention. But they had COVID. Almost the whole school got different times. And just that little school, how they dealt with it, optionally, no kid got hurt. All the kids did 100%, just like in the Netherlands. Europe does not mask the kids when they go to school. And I just want to say it's not as fatal as people say from what I've seen in the urgent care and the hospital. There's a lot of other issues people are in the ICUs for.
Thank you, Sindhu. Michelle Wright.
Michelle Wright, 4400 Long Prairie Road, 75028. I'm a 47-year-old local PA hospitalist, practicing over 20 years. I attended Yale School of Medicine. I'm here to represent my son and daughter who are in LISD schools. I wanted to just share some factual new data that we have about Delta and some medical complications that we now know about with long COVID. The nature of viruses, as we all know, is that they mutate. They mutate to survive. The Delta variant, which has several different mutations than the original strain, is 1,000 times more contagious than the original virus. This has been noted in the literature. It attaches to our cells faster by evading our immune system. It replicates faster, leading to higher viral loads. This means that people become more infectious with this strain. The mechanism behind Delta's increased transmissibility is that there's a lot more of it sooner. Therefore, it's going to spread faster and easier. This is why it is now infecting the vaccinated as well as the unvaccinated, and why the vaccinated are spreading it as much as the unvaccinated. Had we controlled this and brought the numbers down last year, the virus would not have had a chance to mutate to this level of contagiousness. Currently, the R0 of Delta is now on par with chickenpox and smallpox, meaning every one person can now spread it to 5 or 6. Last year, it was probably 1 to 2. Measles, which is the most infectious virus that we have that's known to man can spread from one person to 12 to 18 people. As this virus continues to spread, the R naught may actually end up being to the level of measles. And that is why providers are speaking out now and continuing to speak out, because we are afraid that this virus will continue to mutate as it continues to spread. President and CEO of DFW Hospital Council recently said on August 7th that many hospitals are facing staff shortages as well as healthcare providers are leaving the profession. Some of them are burnt out. Some of them have PTSD from what they've seen, the suffering, the death. Many lay people don't see those things, and it's understandable that a lot of the people here today don't realize those things. He also said that 35 to 37% of ICU patients currently in North Texas hospitals are COVID patients. Think about that. We haven't yet started school, and already almost 40% of our ICUs are full of COVIDs. Actually, in Denton County, like someone mentioned, there's only 3 ICU beds available in Denton County today. Patients are much younger now. They're on ventilators, and many have no underlying health conditions.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Ms. Corbett, Sarah Corbett. Your address, please.
Yes, my name is Sarah Corbett. I live at 5104 Prairie Creek Drive in Flower Mound. I also help out with the high schoolers and middle schoolers at my church. And I'm also here to speak about student health, but not related to COVID. The danger to our students is actually already in our schools' libraries. I'm here to ask that you remove books such as Beyond Magenta, Transgender Teens Speak Out, which is currently in the Colony High School, Hebron 9th Grade Center, Hebron High School, Lewisville High School, and others. And there are other books as well that are promoting and presenting transitioning, minors transitioning, and young adults transitioning in a positive light. This is not good because transitioning involves experimental, harmful procedures, so much so that the Astrid Lindgren Children's Hospital in Sweden, they're a prominent hospital that treats children with gender dysphoria. They actually have stopped prescribing treatments such as puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones to children under the age of 16. They say in the statement that was published by them in March, they say, the hormonal treatment of children and adolescents with gender dysphoria may consist of puberty-blocking treatment, which may be initiated at the onset of puberty, and cross-sex hormones, which may be initiated at the age of 16. And those would be the sorts of things that these books that are in our libraries are promoting. They say these treatments, this is what the hospital has found, these treatments are potentially fraught with extensive and irreversible adverse consequences such as cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, infertility, increased cancer risk, and thrombosis. In light of the above, and based on the precautionary principle, which should always be applied, the ALB, that's the Astrid Lindgren Children's Hospital, will not initiate hormonal treatment for patients with gender dysphoria. So this is what this hospital is saying, and other medical professionals are saying as well. So my question is, why are these books that glorify and promote transitioning, why are they in our schools? It seems comparable to allowing books in our school libraries that glorify anorexia, where a person has their body images that they're fat, but really they're thin. So
thank you, Sarah.
Please remove these books.
Thank you, Sarah. Tiffany Anderson.
Fowler Anderson, 1400 Valley Ridge Boulevard, Lewisville. In 2006, I became a certified chiropractic assistant. Chiropractors get 400 more hours of medical school than MDs. I've been studying vaccines for over 2 years now. Why are we still listening to paid actors and now random medical doctors like JP Santiago that get big bonuses from Big Pharma to push these shots? Chiropractors don't take money from Big Pharma, but they all take an oath to first do no harm. And they only receive 2 hours of vaccine education in medical school and told they're all safe. The COVID virus or disease or whatever it's being called to instill fear into people has never been isolated in a lab. And we've already talked about the PCR test being recalled by the CDC and the WHO for being an inaccurate measurement of testing any virus. It admits that the test swabs have ethylene oxide on them, which cause cancer, yet get shoved 6 inches up into the blood-brain barrier and cause cerebral spinal fluid leaks, all for a virus that can't be found in a lab. And it can't detect variants. This is all propaganda bought and paid for by Johns Hopkins University that has a big donor by the name of Bill Gates, who isn't a doctor. I have a list of all the variants and the dates that Johns Hopkins is planning to release. We should be protecting our children, not using them as a shield to protect adults. They are not a threat to adults. The CDC is wrong again, and so is JP Santiago. Deadly wrong. The CDC's vaccine reactions reporting site has the lawsuit claiming over 45,000 people died in 72 hours from these shots and shows almost 400 children have severe permanent injuries, including swollen hearts. The CDC study on COVID shots, age 12 to 17, showed over 9,000 adverse reactions, and 300 have died just since March. COVID has a 99.99% survival rate in children under 18. An adult's health is not a child's responsibility. It's very selfish of you to push guilt, manipulation, bribery, and coercion on our children, and you should protect the liberty that you swore an oath to uphold, as stated under the Texas Education Code 4.001, which says that school is to be used for education, not indoctrination, and definitely not used as a vaccine clinic that injects unapproved, unsafe medical experiments on children so that some people like JP Santiago feel safe. Vaccine manufacturers are exempt from all liability.
Ms. Anderson, I'm going to stop you right there. I would ask that you not mention Dr. Santiago again. I want to acknowledge the great work that he's done in our community, the great work that he's doing with the Indian community, and I don't think that he's the subject of tonight's.
He's why I'm here.
He could be, but I'd appreciate if you don't call him out.
Sure. You are not exempt from liability. You will all be held accountable for harming and injuring our kids. Also, in Section 4.001, the school has no authority to keep parents from being on campus to see and interact with their children. Locking down campuses will not be tolerated. The shots are free and easy to get. If people want them, they can go get them. For those that choose not to have 99% graphene oxide shoved into their veins, leave them alone. The rats died 2 months after receiving the COVID shots
Thank you,
experiment.
Ms. Anderson.
2 months in a rat's time span
Thank
equals
you,
2
Tiffany.
years.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Thank you. George, I believe this is George McCullough. Does that sound right? Did I do that right? All right, sir. If you'd give us your address, please.
My name is George McCullough. I live at 3508 Bristol Cone Drive in Little Elm, Texas. I have several children that are grandchildren that are coming into your ISD, so I have some concerns. As a side note, I'm not talking about vaccines, but my young and very healthy nephew, Grant Patterson, died last month of myocarditis after getting the Moderna shots. He was found in his bed with a swollen heart, and the coroner verified that the shot was what killed him. I wanted to ad-lib this. I wanted to talk a little bit about masks for children. A little disappointed you already made the decision before the public hearing, but that said, I read a lot, and one of the things I read every day is the Wall Street Journal, and 2 doctors from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Marty Macari and Dr. Cody Missner wrote an article in the Wall Street Journal about masks for children. And they did a much better job than I could do myself ad-libbing, and I'd like to share a little bit about that with you. This is what these guys put up. Do masks reduce COVID transmission in children? Believe it or not, we could not find but one only single retrospective study on the question, and the results were inconclusive. Yet 2 weeks ago, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention sternly decreed that 56 million U.S. children and adolescents, vaccinated or not, should cover their faces regardless of the prevalence of infection in their community. Authorities in many places took the cue to impose mandates in schools and elsewhere on the theory that masks can't do any harm. Well, that isn't true. Some children are fine wearing a mask, but many others struggle. Those who have myopia can have difficulty seeing because the mask fogs their glasses. This has long been a problem with medical students in the operating room. Masks cause severe acne and other skin problems. The discomfort of a mask distracts from some children from learning. By increasing airway resistance during exhalation, masks can lead to increased levels of carbon dioxide in the blood, and masks can be vectors for pathogens if they become moist and are used for too long. In March, Ireland's Department of Health announced that they wouldn't require masks in schools because they may exacerbate anxiety or breathing difficulty with students. Some children compensate for such difficulties by breathing through their mouths. Chronic and prolonged mouth breathing can alter facial development. It is well documented that children who mouth breathe because of adenoids block their nasal airways and can develop a mouth deformity and an elongated face.
Mr. McCullough, thank you, and I apologize for your loss. Just as a reminder, this is not an open hearing. This is an open forum. It's not an open hearing for us to deliberate on this item tonight. We've already made the decision, and so just as a technicality, I want to share that with you. So thank you for speaking up. Jerry Fuller. Mr. Fuller, would you give us your address, please?
My address is 12317 Redbud Lane, Frisco, Texas is a primary. 5720 Windridge Lane is a family place. All my children went to LISD. Thank everybody that was here 25 years ago because they had a very good experience. Everything was wonderful. I got zero complaints about anything. Actually, one of them's here. They're all grown now. Now my grandkids. I got grandkids in Lewisville School District. Something, I wasn't even going to bother anybody, take up any time tonight until a few things were said that kind of sparked me a little bit, trying to make y'all totally responsible for the full safety of our children. I'm not cool with that. I don't think that's your responsibility if you'll just do things how we ask you to. I kind of want you to educate my kids and grandkids like you did the first generation. My kids want the same thing. They want them to know math, science, reading, writing. Okay. Now I can tell you, as a paramedic for 30 years, I was working in the field. Some things that y'all are dealing with, and some things these people and these poor kids are dealing with now. I didn't have to worry about it, but I sure saw what was happening. In the field while I was working, something happened is they pulled a trigger on this race card thing, okay? It was detrimental to our society, and now they're trying to feed it into the schools and make it y'all's responsibility to make our kids understand race, okay? This is a fabricated issue. I'm sorry, but I saw the detriment there. And so as I see this in the field, now I also studied, actually, coincidentally, I happened to study with CDC and FEMA concerning outbreaks because we're medics, so we got to learn that stuff as an officer. Okay. So I end up in the medical world, too. I got a lot of medical people to call. Okay. So now the two things you're dealing with, I kind of feel sorry for you. COVID. Everybody's here because of either COVID or some vaccine consequence or something to do with race because you call it CRT, SEL, call it whatever you want to call it. Most parents do not want that in their schools, reading, writing, math, okay? We hold you responsible to teach the kids. We do not hold you responsible for the social well-being and the medical safety of our kids. We got that, okay? Just consider that they got that. So anytime you're making future decisions, I think all in all, these people would just appreciate it to know that you trust them to manage their kids when it comes to their medical safety and their social, racial outlook on things. Okay, now, if you can pull that off and teach them reading, writing, and math, you're going to come out like a rock star, because as far as I'm concerned, my oldest generation is a rock star. Doing a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Jacob Miller. Mr. Miller, would you give us your address, please?
Jacob Miller, 3521 Castlewood Court, Flower Mound. Dr. Rogers, members of the board, I've got 2 kiddos right now at Wellington. I'd just like to thank the board for their effort through this pandemic. I'm sure it's not something that was expected or signed up for, but yet it's a position we found ourselves in. I'm not a medical professional. I've done no scientific research on COVID. In fact, probably the closest thing I've ever done that could be considered a scientific endeavor was a 9th grade frog dissection, and that did not go well. So really, the only thing that I'm requesting is that we continue to keep masks and vaccines a personal and parental choice. I'm asking that you don't infringe on my personal rights or my personal freedoms, my personal liberties, and I will not infringe on yours. I would also remind everybody that our children are watching how we treat our educators, how we treat our medical professionals, and how we treat our principals. And finally, cooler heads prevail. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Brendan White. Did I get that right? Yeah. Brandon? All right. If you could give us your address, please.
Hi, Brendan White, and I reside at 2429 Stanford Drive in Flower Mound. I have 3 children, 2 of whom are attending LISD schools, and there's a lot of debate about masking of children, and I know that you guys have already taken a position, but just in case the governor changes his mind, politicians tend to do that. I'd like to summarize a research letter recently published by the American Medical Association. The title of this letter is an experimental assessment of carbon dioxide content in inhaled air with or without face masks in healthy children, a randomized clinical trial. 26,000 children were trialed. They concluded that a majority of the masked children had carbon dioxide levels well in excess of the acceptable and healthy ranges. The dead space volume of the masks, which collects exhaled carbon dioxide quickly after a short time, mixes with fresh air and elevates the carbon dioxide content of inhaled air under the mask, and this was more pronounced in this study for younger children. This leads, in turn, they found, to impairments attributable to hypercapnia, I think I'm saying that right, which is excessive carbon dioxide in the bloodstream. The review concluded that there was ample evidence for adverse effects of wearing such masks. We suggest that decision makers, which would be y'all, weigh the hard evidence produced by these experimental measurements accordingly, which suggests that children should not be forced to wear face masks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. Austin Donner. How did you do on that one? All right. Could you give us your address, please?
Austin Donner, 2401 Cornell Drive. Thanks so much for letting me speak this evening. I've got 4 children. The eldest is going into kindergarten. My wife is a saint, as is any woman who's had a child, so it's pretty amazing. My story is a bit anecdotal in nature tonight. It's a story about Zantac. When my wife was pregnant with our 4th, she was taking Zantac, which many of you may know is a heartburn medication. In the middle of her pregnancy, the FDA came out with this statement. The FDA has issued an urgent warning that levels of NDMA contamination in Zantac presents a dangerous risk of cancer. The FDA advises those taking prescription Zantac or ranitidine to consult with their doctor immediately, and those taking over-the-counter OTC Zantac or other ranitidine-containing products to stop taking the medication and seek Zantac alternatives. Those taking Zantac while pregnant are cautioned to follow this advice and talk with their doctor immediately. Time is a revealer of many things. In this case, the FDA found that over time, Zantac was not safe for pregnant women, and previously their disposition was that it was safe. I would say the same thing with any vaccination or long-term effects of mandated mask wearing. I ask that we continue to give it time and let that option be personal to each person. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Andrew Karstensen. Would you give us your address, sir? Thank you.
My name is Andrew Karstensen, and I live at 2632. As an Army veteran, by the way, let me just say thank you all for your professionalism during this time. I understand there's a lot of emotions that are charged with each message that's delivered, so thank you. As an Army veteran, husband, volunteer, and father of 2 boys, I chose to move to the Flower Mound, Texas area for its values, people, and individual rights. I wish you to continue to allow optional masks, optional vaccinations, and ensure that we can opt out of gender assignment curriculum and that we never include critical race theory. I currently have a son in pre-K who is speech delayed and needs to see the faces of his teachers in order to help him learn and speak properly without slipping behind even further. Even as ECI coach has said that there's more children in the program right now, probably due to COVID restrictions. We cannot let this continue at the expense of our children's development. As a parent, I appreciate the natural and legal responsibility given me when I am the one who nurtured, finances, and sacrifices my time to raise a future contributor to society. I especially appreciate the individual rights that I signed up to protect, having deployed in countries where that did not exist, away from my family to protect American rights. I was required to give up certain freedoms and liberties, and I was surprised to experience a government that attempted to implement the same on the general public. I appreciate the wisdom you've demonstrated and appreciate you to continue in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you for your service. This is the last speaker. Chris Mayberry. Would you give us your address, please, sir?
Chris Mayberry. My address is 165 Forestburg Drive, Lewisville, Texas, 75067. So I'm not going to lie, there's a very broad scope of things that I would love to cover in 3 minutes, whether it's CRT and how absolutely detrimental it is, especially if somebody being married to a black woman with 2 very beautiful mixed babies, and I will promise you they are probably 2 of the prettiest boys you will ever see in your life. Or the vaccines, or any other number of topics that are very hot and very hotly debated at the moment. I think the thing that comes to mind that we all heard when all of this stuff started with the pandemic was, if these shutdowns will save even 1 life, then it's worth it. Well, what I would charge you to look into is start pulling the VAERS data yourself. Start looking at the European data centers where they are also recording adverse events. It's pretty shocking. It's pretty telling. And as a father, it's very problematic to read countless anecdotal stories of young men and women who got the vaccine and literally within anywhere from, I've seen 48 hours to 10 days, were either dead or severely hospitalized with no end in sight. The other thing is there's legislation that was pushed in 1986 that protects Big Pharma from lawsuits if anybody is injured from the vaccine. There was additional legislation that was pushed within the last couple years that now also protects them from these, which are not even considered actual vaccines. So if you are injured from a vaccine that's supposed to protect you from something that you've got about less than a 2% chance of potentially dying, and that's even if you have health problems, you have no ability to seek any kind of financial recompense from the companies. You're screwed. That's it. That's all you got. And the other thing I would want you guys to also consider is herd immunity. That's what all of this was supposed to be about, right? We're supposed to be lowering the curve, and then we're trying to work towards herd immunity, right? The WHO, the World Health Organization, changed the definition of herd immunity. You can look it up. They literally changed it from going, herd immunity consists of those with natural immunity and vaccines and vaccinated individuals, to just being those who are vaccinated. Why? Look at the individuals who stand to profit from this. Who's connected to Pfizer? Who's connected to the World Health Organization? Name probably rhymes with mates. Just putting that out there. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayberry. We're going to recess for 5 minutes, but before we do, I'd like to just ask this. Remember that our request for decorum and respect and kindness would be exercised through the break. We recognize that there are some very emotional issues here, and we carry the weight of our decisions. So we would just ask that while we take a break so that we can get ready for the rest of our meeting, and some of you will want to leave, that you would just exercise kindness and please just interact with each other appropriately, if that would be all right. Thank you very much. We'll recess at 8:33 and get back together at 8:38. Go ahead. Okay, we're going to reconvene the session at 8:42. Again, thank you for coming out to our meeting. We're going to return to our regular business. If no items are being pulled for separate consideration, I think, does anybody have any items to be pulled? Yes, from consent. Hang on a second, this is a first. Nobody wants to pull anything from consent. Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll move that the board approve the consent agenda items as recommended by administration.
Do I have a second? Ms. Brosnick? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay, information items. Annual review of investment policy, CDA legal and CDA local. Mr. Youngs.
Good evening, board members. As required by state law, we just share this information with you annually. It's CDA legal, CDA local, has to do with school districts investing idle funds. We suggest and recommend no changes to be made as we look forward to next year, so the policies will remain as is. I'll just remind the board and others that under state law, we have to look out for safety first of the investment, then liquidity, and finally yield. And so that is one of the reasons we earn such a modest interest rate on our investments, is because we're more concerned about safety and liquidity. That concludes my report.
Appreciate that efficiency. This is an information item. Does the board have any questions? Okay, Mr. Youngs, next item.
Mr. Jason Hughes will make this presentation.
It's my pleasure to provide you with the 2021 Facilities Assessment Document. This is the 5th annual revision to the original document created in 2015. This document, as you know, is used to assess district facilities by component using a 3-tiered approach. This approach includes a measure of the remaining useful life of the component, a physical inspection of the component, and an evaluation of the repair history using the district's work order system. The document has been uploaded to the district's website, and I've provided a copy. Hopefully you found it at the dais, and would be happy to answer any questions on the document at this time.
Okay, again, as a reminder, this is an information item. For those in the audience, the book looks like this. So some trustees read this like their Bible and memorize it. So with that, are there any questions?
I have one.
Ms. Brosnick.
Mr. Hughes, I just wanted to note that Memorial Elementary is not listed in the facilities report, even though it was built in 2021. I'm assuming it will show up in 2022?
It will.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Hassett.
Just want to say thank you. That's a great value to the district. I really appreciate it.
Very much.
Bonner. Dr. Bonner.
Concur 100% with Ms. Hassett. This is for those in the audience, this is a great document with a lot of work that's put into it. And just appreciate your hard work and the hard work of new construction, Jason.
Definitely a team effort, and would be remiss if I didn't thank my team because of all the work that goes into it, and certainly my administrative assistant who helps put these documents together, Ginger Cashman. So thank you all very much for that.
I just want to say also thank you, because not only does this help us make decisions by having everything in one place for us to look at as you bring things to us, but it also validates, or to me, it's your all's validation and this board's validation of the work that happened before 2015. And as one of those that walked all the elementary campuses, plus a few to help assess and make this document, I can tell you that those that were on that committee with me back in the early 2010s appreciate the thoughtfulness and the consideration and the importance that your team has given this document. So thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Tonight I signed some plats, and they were created by some Aggies, so I just want to make sure you and your Red Raider friend over here were comfortable with that. You must be, because I signed them. So thank you for your work on this. It's greatly appreciated, and it's a fantastic evolution over the last 7 or 8 years. So thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Report on LISD membership and various buying co-ops, Mr. Youngs.
This item will be presented by Mr. David Lyons from the LISD Procurement Department.
Welcome, Mr. Lyons.
Well, good evening. Well, this is an annual information item that's presented by state statute, just to report the fees paid to the cooperatives, both by the districts as well as the vendors themselves. The report also that was presented was for the 2019-2020 fiscal year, so it is 1 year in arrears. Lewisville paid about $300 in cooperative membership fees, and then received $67,182 in rebates from Buy Board as well as from Staples. Questions?
Again, this is an information item. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lyons.
Thanks, David.
Discussion items, monthly financial reports, including the bond reports and monthly investment summaries. Mr. Youngs.
Yes, sir. This evening, I'll refer you to page 358 in your board book, and I'll invite you to look at the column that is second from the right. So this is through the end of June. We are 10 months as of the end of June through our fiscal year. We have a couple of months left, obviously. So in that rightmost column, or the second rightmost column from the right, we have total revenues of $498 million. Last year that was $469. You'll notice we had total revenue budgeted of $530, so we are behind on our collections. We don't anticipate getting a lot more revenue through the rest of the fiscal year. Then down a couple, 3 lines below line 99, you'll see total expenditures at 401. That was 408 last year. So we actually spent less through this period than we did last year, leaving a surplus of $96 million. And that was $61 million last year. But we do a lot of spending during the final 60 days of the fiscal year, so that's a little bit misleading to see that we have a surplus of $96 million. There's a lot of preparation work for the school year. The next part is a school nutrition fund. Revenues here of $17.6 million, expenditures of 16, yield a surplus in the food service fund of $1.6 million. Last year that was only $600,000. And then lastly, the debt service fund has revenues $168 million. We've spent 29, nearly $30 million, leaving $139 million, but we haven't made our August debt payment yet, so that will come out of that balance. And then lastly, on page 365, you'll see the interest rate that we are earning on our idle investments compared to the 180-day Treasury bill. We're making more than that, but just barely. Our cash portfolio at the end of June was $781 million. We had 654 a year ago, but we did a bond issue. Well, I didn't do a bond issue, but we sold the remainder of our bonds, and that accounts for the increase in cash balances. That concludes this report.
Thank you, Mr. Youngs. This is a discussion item. Do we have any discussion? Mrs. Cox.
I'd just like to make a comment, Mr. Youngs. I just want to give my sincere appreciation to you and your department and the district for, even though we did a lot of pivoting, as you said, Dr. Rogers, this year, you were very good stewards of the taxpayer money and showing even some savings in some areas while continuing to give kids a great education. So thank you very much. Sincere appreciation.
Certainly.
Anyone else? Mr. Youngs, thank you for being efficient. I was thinking that if we looked at normal word usage, we look at your words for the day and my words for the day, we might average out to be average. So
Maybe.
Yes, sir. Maybe a little imbalance there.
Yes, sir.
One way or the other. But finance can sometimes often be not very exciting, right, Rosemarie? So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Dr. Rapp, District of Innovation, one of my I'm sorry. Yeah, District Improvement Plan.
Yes.
I'm sorry, district improvement plan.
Yes, which can also be one of your favorites, too.
That's true.
All right, so we're going to talk about the district improvement plan for this coming school year. Just a brief presentation that was provided with your materials. Again, we did that in response to the governance audit, so pleased to get that presentation in there for you. One of the things I thought it would be important to talk about, which I haven't really done before, was the timeline for the development of the district improvement plan. Really, we're getting to a pretty sophisticated place, I do believe, with how this all comes together. So the board goal setting starts in January of 2021. Then, of course, we have the superintendent district goal setting that comes after that in February. We have formative reviews from the department leaders on the previous school year district improvement plan to inform our new district improvement plan. They do that in March. And we start drafting the new DIP based on those formative reviews in April. Then you get the summative reviews from the department leaders on the DIP. We share those with you in a final DIP update, which was brought to you in June of 2021, and appreciate, of course, all the study and comments on that DIP work. We make final revisions to the draft of the DIP that you saw tonight, and then we bring it to you for discussion and then for action. So it's really a complete process that begins with your goal-setting conversation back in January. Another level of sophistication that we're bringing to this district improvement plan document, and I wanted to really highlight this evening, is at the top you see our cornerstone focus, then our performance objective is tied to our I statements, and then from there, when we have a board goal that's directly related to a strategy, we've got the board goal and then the superintendent district strategies that were discussed in the session with you all back in the spring, and then any measurement that's related to that. The reason that I wanted to highlight this is because as the DIP comes forward to you all for updates, you will get updates on how those superintendent district strategies are moving regularly throughout the year, and hopefully that connection will help keep you informed about those strategies. This plan reflects the input and work of a wide variety of people. I'm not going to read all those bullets. Many of them are sitting in that corner over there, which is kind of weird to see them all huddled up in that corner, but there they are. And we appreciate all of the work from the various departments on really focusing on what are the most important aspects of work we need to focus on for this school year. The other thing I wanted to bring back up, just to recall from the spring, is we did revise the campus improvement plan template. I appreciate Dr. Miller working with the school chiefs to bring that revision to life, where in their CIP template, they have the board goals, the superintendent goals, the DIP goals. So the strategies that they're putting are in direct connection to all of that work as well. So for this school year, we'll of course provide our DIP updates like we normally do. The first one will come to you in December of 2021, then February and June, and then you will get student learning updates that are tentatively scheduled for November, January, February, and June. So you see that almost every single month you'll be either hearing about a student learning update or the district improvement plan update and how we are progressing on those goals. Again, very proud of this work, very thankful to Dr. Miller and Dr. Fitzhugh specifically for their leadership in this area, as it takes a lot to round up all this information, and I appreciate all the leadership of the school chiefs to help bring the campus improvement plans to life with the schools. And on that note, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay, this is a discussion item, district improvement plan. Any questions for Dr. Rapp? Mrs. Hassett.
Not a question, but I've said this before. I really appreciate all the work that you've done in the DIP. I really appreciate that you modify it every year with the intent of students in mind. I really like that you've said that you are going to roll up the board and superintendent goals into the campus, and you've done so just to make sure that everybody's on the same page and we know how we're going to be able to serve and help our students this year. I really appreciate all of the work staff has done, and I can't wait to see what you do for our students this year.
Ms. Prosnick.
I want to reiterate that. I also want to say that I like that we start with our cornerstone, that we emphasize that over and over again throughout the document. A lot of work, and this has certainly changed from when I came on the board to what it looks like now. I think it is something that anybody in the district can read and understand. And I appreciate the language that's used in that. I think it gives transparency and a way for our stakeholders to also give input. So thank you.
Okay, the last action item is consideration selection of TASB delegate and alternate for the 2021 Delegate Assembly. This is my item, I guess. We have not discussed this or deliberated with this as a board. I've got a recommendation unless somebody wants to precede me. My recommendation, just to kind of spread things out, because Ms. Hassett's on the LAC, probably continue with that. Ms. Prosy-Sanel, TASB. So we've got TASB kind of surrounded. If Ms. Lasan would be willing to serve as the delegate, I was a delegate last year, so it can be done. And my backup was the president at the time, Ms. Sells, who did a great job. Dr. Bonner, this is a great opportunity to really kind of understand. Now I'm putting you on the spot. So
I've attended board meetings for many years, and I know exactly what we're doing here. And I would point out in the administrative consideration, the item says TASB recommends but does not require that delegates and alternates be the more experienced members of the local board due to the complexity of various education issues. So I would punt back to you, Mr. Miller, on an appropriate alternate.
So I think that was a no.
I think that's right.
Okay. So then maybe we'll follow the protocol last year. Unless Ms. Cox, you want to do it. I don't know if you want to do it. You're like, okay, great. That would be great. Thank you for doing that. Otherwise, it was going to be me.
Yes, as the alternate.
As an alternate, yes. And the alternate does attend, and
I'll be happy next year to serve when I have more experience as a board member, Mr. Miller.
I did step in for Ms. Lazan one time, so.
Yes. Well, that's a lesson.
Dr. Bonner's willingness to serve next year in the minutes, please.
Yeah. It's a lesson learned not to put Dr. Bonner on the spot. So thank you for being honest. Okay, with that, we're going to get ready to move to closed session. Hey, staff. Oh, I'm sorry. We've got to vote on it. So Ms. Sells will make the motion.
I move that the board approve the selection of TASB delegate Allison Lasan and alternate Angie Cox for the 2021 Delegate Assembly, which will be held on September 25th, 2021 in Dallas.
Second, Ms. Hassett. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. I'd just like to thank the staff that will probably not be here when we get back, but thank you for all your hard work to get us to this coming Wednesday. It's a lot of work from a lot of different departments, not just those who are at the campus, and so thank you for that, and thanks for sticking with us. As authorized, closed session is authorized by Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, etc. Hearing to consider and deliberate. Okay. The next item on the agenda is to consider the student discipline appeal. If at any time the board is to hear a matter involving a student, the matter must be heard in closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.0821. We will therefore move into closed session at this time to hear the Level 3 student discipline appeal. The time is 9:01 p.m. We're back on the record in open session, having returned from closed session. The time now is 10:07 p.m. Does any board member have a motion regarding the student discipline appeal?
I do.
Ms. Hassett.
I move that the board remand the Level 2 student discipline decision back to administration for resolution.
Do I have a second? Ms. Cox. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. If there's no further business, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 1 minute, 10:07. Well, he said, I think we did it in 30 seconds, didn't we?
Yeah.